long-awaited topic, but before we jump right into it, there's a couple things I want to say first. So first of all, I want to introduce you to my horses. This is Aurora, she's my 8-year-old Mustang, and this big boy is Prince, he's my little sister's 6-year-old Mustang. So Aurora already knows how to lie down, so I'm going to show you what the final product is going to look like on her, and then we're going to do a whole series of training videos with Prince so you can see the entire process start to finish. The way I teach the lay down is not with ropes, not to try and pull them down, but it's really just suggesting the idea in their mind. I don't know if any other trainers kind of use this method. I haven't watched any videos. I'm not trying to steal anyone's methods, but this is just what has worked for me and my horses. So with all that said, we'll get right to it. So I'm going to show you what this looks like on Aurora first, and what I use as my cue is just a little bit of tapping on the belly area with this dressage whip, and it's very soft because she's a very sensitive horse. Just like that.
Now I'm going to ask Rory from the saddle, and this is pretty easy to teach them once they've known it from the ground, because it's pretty much the same cue. I'm just going to use the end of her lead rope and give her a little tap on the belly.
So this is Prince, and he has never been taught to lie down before. So now that you've seen what it looks like on Rory, we're going to show you all the steps to get that on Prince. So before you start, I have a few tips. First of all, it's best to teach this on a kind of sandy area where there's no grass to distract them, and it's nice and soft to encourage them to lie down. If your horse has a favorite spot in the pasture or in their paddock that they like to lie down, it would be a good place to start them there. The other thing is your horse should be focused on you, and it helps if they're kind of tired. They don't have to be exhausted or anything, but they definitely shouldn't be bouncing around full of energy. It also helps to teach this after a long ride when they're hot and sweaty, or after a bath when they're more likely to want to lie down and roll. So the way I like to teach this is not by breaking it down into too many steps or making it too complicated. So it's not about hitting a bullet list of steps. Instead, it's about looking for when they're thinking about lying down. And the early steps can be very hard to catch, but you want to reward the littlest amount of try that they give you. So what I'm going to do with Prince is start asking for my finish cue right here, and when he even starts to think about it, I'm going to take off the pressure and give him a nice rub and reward him for his efforts. So to start, we're going to have him walk in a nice, tight, slow circle around us like this. Our cue right here at the belly. Good boy. So we want to keep our body language nice and calm and relaxed, and it helps too if you're just kind of low like here, because it gets them thinking down. And anytime he lowers his head, kind of droops it to the ground, we want to reward that, because that's the first step to lying down. Good boy. So we're going to give him a break, tell him he's a good boy, give him a little bit of love. See, he's looking and chewing. He's thinking, I must have done something right. Good. So he's picking up on this really well. And we're just going to ask him to hold that a little bit longer, the nose to the ground at the slow, slow walk. Good. So he started slowing down a little bit and dragging his feet. That's the next step that we're looking to achieve.
So Prince is kind of on autopilot mode right now, which isn't bad because he has an idea of what we're doing. But I'm waiting for a spot where he tries a little bit harder to reward him. Right about here, he drops his nose down further, so I give him a big reward. So an important thing to notice here is that I'm not pulling on Prince's face to keep him close to me. I'm simply keeping my hand where it is so he can do his circles by himself. And if he tries to pull away from it, he'll just run into the end of the line and then return to me when he realizes there's nowhere else to go. So now that Prince understands what the tapping cue on his belly means, I can lower the pressure as long as he's doing what I ask. When he picks his head up, I tap a little bit harder until he brings it back down again. Then I reward him for doing what I asked by lowering the pressure again. Notice how slow and lazy Prince's steps are getting. That is a very good sign that he's starting to think about lying down.
So he started dragging his feet a little more. That's a very good sign. So we're going to give him a little break.
So here Prince gets distracted and picks his head up again. Once again, I'm increasing the pressure. He's really not paying attention, so I reward him the second he puts his head down just a little bit to make sure he understands that's the right answer. So now Prince is walking around me with little or no help from the whip. I'm simply holding it there until I need to use it to ask him to bring his head down again. When he brings his head down all the way, he gets a big reward. So anytime Prince stops to sniff the ground or looks like he's thinking, I wait to see what his reaction's going to be. If he loses attention, I just ask him to do his circles again. This time Prince starts thinking again, but instead of losing focus, he kind of shifts his hindquarters a little bit, which is a good sign.
See there how he slowed down his walking? And he it's very hard to tell unless you know what you're looking for, but he kind of started to think about it. So we're going to give him a big reward here. Good boy. So aggressive, fast pawing can be a sign of frustration, but what he did there is kind of more like a searching, slow pawing. So that can be a sign that he's thinking about laying down, so we're going to give him a little break.
So here Prince is really starting to use his brain. So I keep up my tapping, ask him to work through what he's thinking. He did one little paw, but I want to keep asking to see where he goes with it. So here Prince begins pawing a little bit faster, and I don't want to reward his pawing every single time because I don't want him to think that that's the trick that I'm asking for. So I wait to see where he's going with it. When Prince loses focus, I continue my tapping to ask him to concentrate, and then I stop when he goes back to thinking. So Prince begins pawing a little bit more earnestly here, but what I like is right about now he walks his back feet up to his front, which is a very great reaction, so I wait to see where he's going with it, and I tap a little bit more to get a reaction out of him. He paws a little bit more, and then here he walks his back feet up again.
So I was waiting to see where he was going with this whole pawing thing. You don't want to reward it too much, because then they'll think pawing is the trick, and you definitely don't want to teach that. But when he was done pawing, he took a step forwards with his back foot, like he was thinking about gathering himself up to lie down. So that's a very good step. And I think we're going to end on that note today and pick it up again another day. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing Prince's progress. He actually got a lot further than I was hoping for today. So we'll see where he takes this the next day. Thanks for watching.